The Halot Mage Pro is one of Creality's newest in their resin printing line. With an 8K resolution screen and motor speeds up to 170mm per hour, while still showcasing incredible printing quality. This printer would already be impressive as is, but Creality have even more cards up their sleeve, which makes this printer even more magical. Creality's main goal with this printer was to make a resin printing machine that is both quick and simple to use, but have it also deliver amazing quality at those high speeds. Creality claims that this printer can print up to 17 centimeters in only 1 hour. To really put that to the test, I printed in both standard resin as well as high-speed resin, as well as doing a print that utilizes the entire printing height that this printer offers. On that topic, this printer has a build size of 228 by 128 by 230mm, with a 10.3-inch 8K resolution screen ensuring amazing quality because of its high pixel density. It also features the possibility of printing via USB and Creality cloud connections. Other quality of life features include a resin intake and extraction pump, and my personal favorite, an air purifying pump, which comes pre-built into the machine. Additional parts and tools included with this printer include a metal scraper as well as a plastic one, an Allen key set, USB stick, one-use resin filters, a tube of metal grease, and a replacement FEP film. Something else I haven't seen with any of their other printers yet is that they include a 1-year subscription to Store.co.za Pro. Now that we're done with the introductions to the Halot Mage Pro, let's find out just how magical it really is. We will be doing 2 of the same prints in both resins, starting off with the standard resin plus from Creality. Here is a very quick showcase on how to set up the resin extraction system. First, you unscrew the cap on the resin bottle after shaking, then pop on the silicone cap provided with the Mage Pro. After which you can feed the little hose through one of the holes on the top of the cap. Make sure it reaches the bottom of the bottle. Then simply press the in button on the screen or on the pump itself. Now, just wait until the pump stops after filling up to just under the line, which is around 500 milliliters worth of resin, as indicated on the vat. The vat for the Halot Mage Pro can take up to 1 liter of resin maximum. Now we can close the panel and get your slice ready for printing. Make sure it is completely closed. Just insert your USB to one of the provided slots. The other is for a camera, which I'll talk about later. Select and download your sliced file. After it's done, select OK. Select it again on the top left corner, then choose File Parameters. Here you can see all the selected settings for the print which we chose in Halotbox when we sliced the file. Now all that's left to do is to hit Start and watch the magic happen. After a few hours of printing, you are now ready to start the final and unfortunately more tedious process of cleaning and removing the supports from the prints. Here's a quick look at the unwashed prints on the build plate after printing. I did notice a spot where the resin nearly splashed out of the vat. This is cleaned easily enough though, so all we need to do now is extract the resin. You can activate and use the pump on the pump itself, as well as using the on-screen menu. Both of them work equally well, so this comes down to user preference. After starting using the resin extraction system, something became really clear to me. This is a very slow process. It takes nearly 20 minutes to completely get rid of most of the resin that's in the vat. There is still a bit of manual resin pouring that would be needed after the fact. Another thing is that the pipe and the pump will need to be cleaned after nearly every print. As you can see here, everything is covered with resin. So if you want to use a different resin or different color resin, you'll need to clean it off every single time after you've finished a print. When removing the vat to clean it out and get it ready for the next print, I noticed another problem. The resin drippage. Because of where the valve is located, it either drips resin onto the screen itself or it just kind of flows back into the system where it's hard to clean. So I would suggest always having a paper towel with you when you do this, just to make sure that you can clean it off before it gets into places where it's really hard to clean out. Here you can see the amount of resin that's still left in the vat even after the pump has been running for about 30 minutes. here's a quick look at our first prints on the Halot Mage Pro before they are clean. So this is not completely finished yet. I still need to clean off the rest of the resin and set it and remove the supports. My routine when it comes to cleaning resin prints is to clean the build plate first. The reason for me doing this is because I don't want the resin that's still on the build plate to set. This might cause discoloration or even a print failure with future prints. So cleaning off all the resin while it's still unset first is my go-to so that I can have a nice and clean build plate for each and every print I do. After doing that, then I will remove the prints from the build plate and just clean the area where they were as well. And now to remove the supports. And there you have it. Here is our cleaned and assembled print in the standard Resin Plus from Creality. I will talk more about it in the conclusion of the video. And now we move on to the faster curing fast resin from Creality. The immediate difference between the two resins is that the fast resin has a much more watery consistency. In terms of settings, the two main differences is that the fast resin has a curing time of 1.6 seconds per layer instead of the standard 2.5 to 3 seconds per layer, as well as having 10 times faster motor speeds than standard Resin Plus. So that brings us to the conclusion of our first looks at the Halot Mage Pro. Some takeaways that I have about this printer which I thought were really nice. The air filtration system does work really well in terms of getting rid of the odor that usually spreads around the room when the resin printer is going, especially at those high speeds. So yeah, the air filtration system is a really nice thing that they have built in and already assembled, so you don't have to worry about getting that additionally. Another thing is the increase in the speed of the motors on this machine. That means that you don't only just save time on the fast resins, but you can save time on some standard resins as well. But I do say that with a caveat, because what I've seen happen quite a lot is that people want to print at the higher speeds with the build plate, say 15 millimeters per second, with a standard resin. This is the fast resin, the standard resin. What sometimes happens is that that speed is just too much. It creates too much of a pulling force, and the prints end up failing. They end up tearing off from the supports, or they end up tearing off of the build plate completely, just staying on the back. Unfortunately, you'll have to see what works with the print that you are doing. This might change for each and every print. So decrease that motor speed just to make sure that that pulling force isn't too much for the print to handle. A safe bet would be around 5 millimeters per second. You could even drop that down to 2 millimeters per second if you really want to be safe. Yes, this will increase the printing times, but a slow print success is way better than a fast print failure. The other thing that you might have noticed is the difference in quality between the two prints with the fast resin and the standard resin. The standard resin looks a lot worse, but that is my fault. This printer finished that print on a Friday night, and I only came back on the Monday to come and take it off. In that time, the resin started to set. Unfortunately, that's why a lot of the details have been blurred out. I also saw, when looking back at the footage, that I somehow set the time to 2 seconds instead of 2.5 seconds per layer, which is not what you should be printing at, or what I would recommend printing at with standard resin. 2.5 and 3 seconds, that's the perfect standard. But otherwise, the printing qualities of the two resins are perfectly the same. Yes, the fast resin is just faster. Another thing that I had high expectations for, but after thinking about it a little, it does make sense. The resin pump is cool for if you have a specific set case where either you are printing a lot of prints in a row, you've got two different build plates that one comes off, the other one goes on, and you restart your print again. You don't have to worry about the resin running out by just replacing the bottle at the back and keeping the prints going 24/7. Or you're printing something that takes over a liter's worth of resin, or very close to a liter's worth of resin. If those two cases are relevant to you, yes, the resin pump is really cool. Otherwise, I don't necessarily see the charm in it, especially with the extraction system. It's just faster to take the vat out and pour it back in through a filter into the bottle. Because the pump only has a little valve on one side of the vat, it only sucks up, say, 80% of the resin to 90% of the resin that's in the vat. That won't cut it. You need to get rid of all the resin if you want to. Maybe replace the resin or get a different color of resin or different type of resin. So taking out the bat and just pouring out the resin is still faster and better in that case. As well, not to mention that it drips onto the screen or into the bat even after the fact, and yeah, it's a little bit of a messy situation, so I hope that there might be some improvement in the future with that system. For me personally, I would not worry about that. And speaking of that, did you guys know that the Halot Mage Pro has a little brother? It's called the Halot Mage. The Halot Mage literally just doesn't have the pump system. And I think it doesn't have a second USB for the Nebula camera. Speaking of the Nebula camera, that is what I found out is the second USB port. I was wondering if it can take up to 2 TF cards or something. I wasn't really sure what it was for in the beginning, but it is for the camera. It is a new camera from Creality called the Nebula camera. It works with some specific screens. I'll put up a graph here to see which ones are actually compatible with it. I'll do a future video on the Nebula camera to see what's the difference between that and the standard HD and 1080p camera from Creality. The other thing that I had a little bit of an issue with was connecting to the printer through Halot Box. This might have been an issue on my side with our internet or something. I'm not exactly sure, but I couldn't send a file through Halot Box to the printer. It was constantly saying that it is currently sending, but there was no progression on the percentage bar. So I left it for about 20 minutes and there was no change, unfortunately. So I just stuck to the USB and just uploaded the file to the USB from the slicer and then put it on the machine, and that worked perfectly fine for me. So this might have been an issue on Halot Box's side, this might have been an issue on the connection from this printer, or it could have been our internet. So that could have been on my side, but I did want to mention that as well. But on that note, I hope you guys learned a lot about the Halot Mage Pro, maybe helping you make the decision on whether you want to buy this printer or something else, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider subscribing, leaving a like, and then I will see you in our next video.